I interpret this quote as time is always constant, and yet it always changes, just like people. Like most of us, I grew up playing Zelda games. I don't remember exactly which one though, because I was quite young, but I remember spending many hours on them, and I still do as a high schooler. When you're young, you play video games mostly to have fun, and that's how I felt with the Zelda franchise. But over the years, I felt a greater connection, as if the games wanted to tell me something a childish mind couldn't understand. No one in my family was a fan of Zelda. Only my mother played the original game on her NES back in the days. My father never owned any Nintendo consoles. As of my siblings, only one of them likes video games, but he only plays Minecraft. I was the only one playing Zelda. Just like Mario games, Zelda games oftentimes seems repetitive. I mean, in most of them, you're just an elf trying to rescue a princess from a mutated pig. It does sound silly, but there's just more to that. It's a constant cycle, a constant battle that never ends. It's a history of peace and violence. It's a story of despair and love repeated throughout the ages. But unlike many children's tales, people die. The hero isn't always victorious, and evil wins. That's why I like Zelda games. It's not because you have a pure heart and are courageous that it means you're gonna triumph. Sometimes, peace doesn't always prevail. Sometimes, Link doesn't always save Hyrule. This can be applied in real life too, except without the Zelda fantasy. No matter how much you really want something, you cannot always have it. You may have all the necessary qualities, it's not guaranteed that you're going to obtain what you want. There are 3 themes I found throughout the games that I wanted to share with you all today. But before I do so, let me go back to some middle school English vocab words real quick. So, what's the theme? The theme is simply a life lesson that the author wants the audience to know. The author here is the Zelda team, and we, the players, are the audience. Now, the theme I'm going to elaborate further on are friendship, independence, and courage. Just like the Triforce, those 3 pieces all make up one whole thing, the magic of Zelda games. Saria might be one of my favorite characters in the Zelda universe, not because she ends up being the sage of the forest, but rather because of her personality. She and Link are very close friends, but like everything in life, things are not perennial. People have to say goodbye. That's the cycle of life. It's not always easy, but it is necessary in order to progress forward. Saria isn't an exception. Fi, Navi, Midna, Marin, and others all ended up saying their goodbye to Link. Usually with difficulty to accept that their quest is over, but at least they made memories. Memories anchored in both their minds, but their hearts also. Link's Awakening is a perfect representation of this. Although Link met many inhabitants of Koholint Island, they were all just an illusion. The monsters, the trees, the people, the weapons, everything was just an illusion. Marin too, was just an illusion. She knew that one day Link was going to leave the island, but her, she wouldn't be able. There's a moment in game where Marin says that she believes there is something on the other side of the sea, and that if she could, she wishes to be a seagull to see what's on the other side. Small moments like those are often present in Zelda games, and this makes the franchise's charm. It's incredible how such interaction can have a much deeper meaning. They make the player think, and sometimes even realize stuff. But this all ties back to the theme of friendship. During life, we're gonna meet people eventually. They'll help you go through challenges, but are not eternal. One day or another, goodbyes will have to be made. Just like Link's companions, no one stayed with him once his quest of saving Hyrule was over. Most of them just went back to where they originally belonged.
This gives you bad rebound. Rebase. You get.
Besides Saria, Midna is also a character I really enjoyed. I love how the developers made her as a dynamic character. Starting with Midna acting somewhat hostile towards Link, to then, at the end, almost reveal her feelings to him, although this is more speculation. The shift in character makes her so much more enjoyable in my opinion. The Legend of Zelda is filled with companions willing to help Link on his quest, but just like real life, they still remain somewhat friends, don't they? Friends are great, but they're also like cake. Sometimes, abusing from them can hurt. That's why it's important to be prepared whenever they might leave. This actually also brings us to our next topic, which is independence. Because once you're alone, you're the master of your own path. Independence is an important virtue. Not being influenced or controlled by others in matters of opinion, conduct, and more. Basically, just thinking and acting for oneself. Just as I previously mentioned, I kind of incorporated friendship in this theme. I never had many friends at school because I always thought that having more than one was unnecessary. So, as I grew older, I learned that not everyone has good intentions. People can act fake, almost as if they were wearing a mask, trying to conceal their true intentions. Doesn't that remind you of a game? The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Majora's Mask both have a special place in my heart. Breath of the Wild is mainly for the gameplay and innovation, whereas Majora's Mask is more for its gloomy and melancholic aspect. I won't be going too much in depth for the lore and stuff of Majora's Mask, like the stages of grief or even Ben Drowned, because first, you guys probably already heard about it, and second, it's not today's topic. Link from both games, although being completely different individuals not living in the same place and time, still has similar goals. Save a place. One is stopping the moon from crashing, while the other one is just saving Hyrule. But both of these links share the virtue of independence. Link used to count on the help of Navi to help him in Ocarina of Time. But now, in the events of Majora's Mask, Link has to learn how to manage himself alone. I know Tattle exists, but honestly she's just an annoying little bitch. She doesn't have the same connection as Navi did with Link. Breath of the Wild Link though, oh boy. As soon as he wakes up, he's half naked, already asked to save a kingdom. Despite his young age, he's still technically just a teenager, but contrary to not only Majora's Mask Link, but also all the other Link, he's really alone. He got no emotional support, just a Sheikah slate. You know, there's a reason on why Link rarely talks. In a diary written by Zelda inside her castle, it is said that Link never speaks because he thinks it is necessary to stay strong and to silently bear any burden. He doesn't want anyone to worry about him. By staying strong and independent, this is how Hyrule can be saved. But muscles and independence isn't enough to save a kingdom. We still need one last virtue, the virtue the goddess's best thought Link has: courage. Link is the courageous hero of Hyrule. He is ready to risk his own life, only to save the people he appreciates. Life is and should be an adventure. Don't you just want to explore what this vast planet has to offer? Not worrying about school or work, and when life gives you struggles, you could just look up in the sky and tell yourself that everything will be alright. Obviously, this can't really be done because of many obvious reasons. However, the Zelda franchise can still make you go through different adventures, although everything is mainly made of a bunch of line codes. Whether it was in the sky, the sea, the Twilight Realm, nature, a parallel dimension, or simply Hyrule, I still have memories of everything. As stupid as this might sound, I always looked up to Link. His courage, believe it or not, made me try new experiences. Life is just meant to be lived, but really, what's the point to live if you don't try new experiences? Meeting new people, making new memories, laughing, crying, traveling, living. For me, this is life. And what does it take? Courage. Well, okay, money too, but quality-wise, it is courage. Courage is the strength in the face of pain or grief. Many historical figures, like George Washington, are still remembered to this day. Want to know why? Besides being the first president of the United States? Well, it's because of their courage. Courage need not to be remembered, for it is never forgotten.
Link, you may not yet be at a point where you have fully recovered your power, or all of your memories. But courage need not be remembered, for it is never forgotten.
Link is chosen hero by the goddesses for being courageous. He forms one of the pieces of the Triforce, which is courage, while Zelda has the piece of wisdom and Ganondorf the piece of power, or strength. They also represent the three golden goddesses, by the way. Link has always been caring for others, always accepting challenges, without necessarily knowing what would await him. Perhaps that's also why he is in fact the true hero of Hyrule. People look up to him, and so do I. Many people have evil intentions, but his pure heart made him fight them. It's also because of this that he can wield the Master Sword, but of course, to wield it, you need courage. We all have weaknesses, no one doesn't, but we all can still overcome them. So do yourself a favor today, try to at least face it. For example, if you're an introvert, try to have a short discussion with someone you don't know. If you can't, that's fine. Try to at least say hi. Be courageous. You can do it. Friendship, independence, and courage. The three themes one can see throughout Link's many adventures. Diving into an imaginary world always made me dream. Reality is oftentimes scary and disappointing, but luckily, there are many ways to avoid it, or rather take a short break from it. Sometimes it's fine to vent or simply talk about it. I'm just a high schooler, I'm literally no one special. But still, talking about what forged my childhood, part of my teenage years, and maybe even my adulthood in a way makes me vent and share my point of view. As someone who has played nearly all Zelda games and read all the mangas and encyclopedias up to date, I just want to share my love of the franchise. Today, I feel like a lot of people judge games on how they look. Although resolution and frame rate contributes in a somewhat big factor here, the Zelda franchise doesn't need that in order to be enjoyed. The soundtracks, gameplay, and story makes up for it. One thing I didn't talk much about here is nostalgia. There's a reason on how and why Nintendo managed to sell their games so well, especially Mario and Zelda. However, Zelda games aren't all about nostalgia. Since nostalgia is in the core of this video, I won't dive more into it, but I have a friend who talked about it. I will leave a link to his video in the description. I truly hope that future generations will enjoy Zelda as much as I did. There is no age to enjoy such a masterpiece. I am more than excited for Tears of the Kingdom, and can't wait for what the game will reveal us. This was my take on The Legend of Zelda. They're simply magical. Exploring and dreaming is what makes me alive. Thanks to the Zelda franchise, I'm able to do both of these things. This is why it's truly magic, and this is why I love the Legend of Zelda franchise.
I've been keeping watch over you all this time. I've witnessed your struggles to return to us, as well as your trials in battle. I always thought, no, I always believed that you would find a way to defeat Ganon. I never lost faith in you over these many years. Thank you, Link. The hero of Hyrule. May I ask, do you really remember me?